All right, so to start off, what we're looking to do here is we want to take our products that we currently have living inside of the models class, kind of coupled with the inventory utility. We've got the models class for product, but then we have this inventory utility here that actually has our listing of our products. We want to move these out of just being statically coded into the utility class and move them into a database. So to do that, we need to create a database. So we will go over to the Server Explorer. Now, if you don't have that for some reason, you can go View and choose Server Explorer, and you'll pop up with a panel. And then you want to choose Database Connections. Now, I'm assuming at this point that you have Microsoft SQL Server installed. If you don't, then you will want to jump out to Blackboard and go to the Final Project under Assignments, and then from there you'll be able to find a video that talks you through installing Microsoft SQL Server and getting all of those pieces set up. Now, I'm not using the database from the final project. I'll be creating my own, and I'll kind of walk you through those steps just so you have an understanding of how that works. But the goal here is for you to understand conceptually what we're doing, but this does not directly apply moving forward to the final project. It's just the steps that you need to understand and then apply them to your own project. All right, so I'm going to right click and add a connection, and I'm going to connect to a SQL Server and hit continue. And then from here, I'm looking for my local installation of SQL Express. I'm going to go ahead and click test connection, and my test was successful. So I'm connecting to SQL Express using my local Windows user authentication, make a new database, and I will call this my Quickly POS database. And I'm going to hit OK. And what Visual Studio is going to ask me is, it's going to say, the Quickly POS database does not exist. Would you like to attempt to create it? And I'm going to say yes. So Visual Studio will go ahead and actually attempt to create that database for me and load it into my SQL Server. So we now have a new database set up, the Quickly POS database. So I'm going to go ahead then and create a table. So I'm going to right click on tables and choose add new table. And this will then pop up a new table designer. And inside of here, I can go through and create my products table. So I'm going to jump down here while this design interface is loading, and I'm just going to do square bracket products, and that'll be the name of my table. I'm also going to modify this ID field in my table, and I'm going to set it as the identity field. Now that I've got that in place, I can come in here and I want to add properties or fields that match the properties in my products class. So I'm going to twirl open my products here, twirl open again, and there are the fields that currently exist in my product model. So ID will be the unique or primary key for my table, and that's a database piece of functionality that we'll have to move into our model. But we need to go ahead and add name, and I'm going to choose a varchar 400 for that, and it will not be nullable. I'll do UPC code, and that'll also be varchar 400. We then have a description, and that'll be varchar max, and then we will have unit price, and I'll treat that as a numeric, and that will be all I'll need for right now. So I'll just do those properties. If I decide to either add a property to my model or add it to my table, I'll have to update both, but we now have those pieces in place. So now I will click the update button. Don't go to click save, you want to click update, and update will actually generate the SQL script needed to update our database. So I'll go ahead and click update database, and that will then create the database table within the database that we just created. Now, for purposes of you guys being able to kind of follow along, or if you're having challenges, I'm going to go ahead and actually click save. And what this is doing is it's allowing me to save the script that creates the product table, my application. So I'm actually going to jump into the business part of my solution, and then I'm going to save it under data. So the script will be there in case you want to create the table using the script. If I come back to my Server Explorer, hit refresh, I now have a products table ready in my database. I can even go as far as opening up my inventory utility. I'll move my Solution Explorer out of the way. I can then right click on this into a show table data, and I can actually move those products into my database table. So I'm going to mount this right here underneath so I can kind of look at them side by side. And I'll type in here basketball. My UPC code will be 0123. Description, orange ball, and then my price will be $20. You kick it, and it'll be $7.50. All right. I'm looking and I'm seeing that my unit price is actually getting rounded up, so I'm going to actually jump back into my table definitions real fast. And I think the reason for that is my numeric does not have any position. So I'm going to change that to from a 0 to a 2, and we'll update, and we'll choose update, and then we'll come back here and hit refresh, and then we'll now do this as 7.5. There we go, perfect. All right, so we've now set up our database table. We've gone ahead and migrated or loaded our product information into the table. So we've got things set up so that we can now move forward and actually pull data from the database and use it in our application. I'm going to add one more ball here just to ensure that we are using the database data versus the old one. So I'm going to create a golf ball. And we will say pack of 3 may contain holes. And we'll say that that is $12 or $12.25. All right, so we've got our database ready. On to the next steps.